Okay, well, here I am, taking you on a path as I speak to you about being on your path in life. I know, but what would you expect from someone who has created the True North method? Hi, I'm Paula D'Andrea, and thanks for coming back to watch another episode with me. I really appreciate that you're being here. And one of the things that, feeds my soul, that keeps me connected to my spirit, that helps me stay on a path, is to be on this one. I'm in one of my favorite areas ever, Griffith Park, and I hope that you enjoy the scenery as we walk and talk a little bit, and just share some thoughts about the ways that you can continue to stay in stride with your life, to keep you on your path. Because let's face it, even though we think that we're going in a certain direction, life always turns us around. And the key is to be able to roll with that, to be able to come back up. And when you have a strong inner compass, that's one of the things that allows you to get back on track quicker. And it took me a long time to figure that out. So I share my wisdom with you, and it's also why I do what I do. I've had a lot of dips in life. Some of them really unpleasant, things that have affected me emotionally, physically, spiritually. I've had some things that I've really had to come back from in life, a lot of adversity. And, you may have had some of your own, maybe not as much, but it doesn't really matter, because this isn't about trading war stories or comparing whose life is better or not or anything like that. But it's about to enrich you, to be able to look at some of the things that you have experienced in life and say, hey, this is how I can get myself back on track. And I'll be quite honest, is that there are some things that knocked me down and kept me down for a while. And it was through the recovery process of all the stresses that I had, and that, I've been able to actually help other people, get back on their feet, literally. One of the things that has happened to me is that I literally got, hit by a van and, on the ground, and have had several surgeries to get, to be walking this path. And I'm very grateful to actually be walking. And it's, at some points during my journey was something that I wasn't quite sure if that would be happening. One is that, during one of my surgeries, I contracted a staph infection, and they actually talked about, if they couldn't get it out, that I would lose my leg. And although, yes, I would be able to learn how to walk again, probably with a prosthetic or something, I'm very grateful that it did not come down to that. And after a couple of weeks of being really, really ill and in the hospital, that they were finally able to, get it out. So that's just one of the many things that I've encountered in life that has helped me. And being a person that is very physical, that relies on their physicality, and that is another thing that I take that is very important to me, is my health. And what I do to be able to take care of myself, and nutritionally, exercise wise, all the healthy choices that I make in my life, the way that I think, the way that I approach things, those to me are your health, even your spiritual, and taking care of yourself in that way of giving yourself self-care is a way of. And one of the things that I found in all of my adversity, trials and tribulations, whatever they be, is that in the worst of times, that is exactly the time to bring your self-care up a couple of notches, because it is that deeper love that you have for yourself that willingness to, do a little bit extra even when you're not feeling particularly great, whether it be that you're experiencing something that is, emotionally draining or financially draining, mentally draining, physically, whatever it may be. That little bit that you give yourself, it really helps keep your spirit renewed and helps keep you on track. And that's one of the things that I have found to be really, really helpful in being able to recover quicker, and also in a way that was very nurturing. And to give yourself that little bit of nurturing, and then also get the support from other people, is something that does help you, get some focus, and which is really important when you're dealing with things that are taking you out of focus. It gives you a little bit of a plan and a way to keep pulling yourself forward, and just to keep, yourself on track a little bit. And trust me, I've had like some really, really momentous things, loss of family members, the physical loss that I was sharing with you, financial, with all of that, big things, breakups, all kinds of things that were in the middle. Life keeps on happening even as you're dealing with that one thing. And then it seems like you get to a point of overwhelm because you've got too much life happening. And I don't know if you've had that experience before, but it definitely was something that part of my experience as well. So all of the little things that you do are the things that are going to help you get to the bigger, to get to your next path, to find out what is next for you in life. And what happens is that sometimes we're not going down the wrong path necessarily, but maybe the approach is a little bit wrong. And there may be too much trying to force a certain thing. You may have some goal set that you expect to be earning a certain amount, or going different places, being with certain people, and it's just not happening. And yes, it's really frustrating, but what you find is that it's only because that isn't what was meant for you. And sometimes you kind of have to get a little bit of a knock that steps in, and if you're not getting it on your own, some other force, who knows what it may be, it may be getting knocked to the ground, like I did, literally, to give me a little bit of a wake-up call to have a different approach. And that is part of it. Now, let me share with you too, is that there are, there are a lot of things that I'm still aligned with that I was many years ago. And that's the good part of it, because that's a through line for who I am, being close to my natural alignment, my knowing, my spirit, however you want to define it. And everybody has a different way of defining it. Some people call it an essence, some people call it a calling. There's all these different names that people assign to it. And whatever it is, it's about you. And for when we talk about true north, it really is about being in that place where you are able to come back. When you think about something that is a true north, you think about a lighthouse, right? And it is this beacon of light, and it keeps on sending out this signal. And within you is a signal, right? We talked about your inner GPS, and how to really fine-tune that. And that is something that I work through with people. If you'd be interested, you can visit pauladandrea.com/30 and get into a 30-minute conversation with me that will just give you some pointers about how you can get lined up again if you feel like you've fallen off track, if you've gotten off your path and not really quite sure how to get back on. And it could be, again, something that you've been experiencing, some type of life experience, maybe an illness or loss of a loved one, some type of transition that you're having in life and just not really sure. And let's face it, when there's uncertainty, there are a lot of doubts that creep in, and that's what takes us out, right? So it's about, how do I get back on? How do I come back in over and over again and do it in a way that's, easier and graceful, not, taking us and putting us into a spin cycle of, all of these bad thoughts running rampant, or, just keeping us in this loop of this particular story. So being able to master your energy so that you can quickly get back on a path, and that path may change after a little while that you're walking it, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, do I go left or do I go right? And when you start fine-tuning that inner GPS, that allows you to give you a really good positioning point of saying, okay, here's this opportunity, right or left, which am I going to go? And you can, just check in with yourself and say, okay, how is this going to line up for me? Check in with your heart, check in with your mind, check in with your values, your belief system, and, then readily have an answer, right or left. And that begins to get stronger the more that you use it, just like anything else, right? It's kind of like a little bit of a workout of just, anything that you put into practice, the more that you do it, the better you get at it or with it. And it really does become that easy. So just some things to think about as you may be looking for a new path in life, or a way to maybe, just secure your footing on the path that you're on. Again, you can visit pauladandrea.com/30 and get in touch with me for a 30-minute laser session that will just help you get some more clarity, get a little bit more focus, and I'd love to help you with that. So thank you very much for joining me on this portion of my path. I'm going to say goodbye so that I can step up my on my path and going forward, and I will catch you on the next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.